Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. And we have another top 4 match of Sovereign's non-meta tournament number 3. And we have myself, who was first place after Swiss, playing Majespecter. And up at the top, we have Manicus, who is on Invoked Shaddoll. I almost said Artifact Shaddoll because we have commentated that in the past, but this is a different variant playing the Invoke cards, which obviously probably is the better variant since there are more access to the fusion spells. He won the die roll. He's going to opt to go first this time. Usually it's really interesting to see him go first, but I mean, I guess it makes sense since I think he knew what I was playing, so it makes sense for him to opt to go first. Meltdown's going to be activated here to search for the Alistair. Then he can go ahead and normal summon the Alistair and use the effect to grab Invocation. Then he's going to link it off into a copy of Almirage, link it off into a copy of Secure Gardener, which is interesting that he's actually on this card because Makaba is banned in this format, so it's really interesting. But the really cool thing about it is that you can use it with Shaddoll Fusion to make Construct. So I think we're going to see that here. El Shaddoll Fusion is going to come down. He's going to go ahead and use Secure Garda with a copy of Beast. I think that's really cool with El Shaddoll Fusion being able to facilitate 3 different attributes. Obviously, you can't use Dark for Winda, but it's still interesting to do that because you can still use like Almirage for Greista, although he's not on that, and Secure Garda for Construct. So 3 different attributes, which is really cool. He's going to make the Construct and use its effect to go ahead and, Beast effect as well to draw a card. And Squamata is going to go ahead and be sent to Graveyard. Then Wendy is going to be sent as well, triggering its effect to special summon Beast to the field face down. Then he's going to go ahead and opt to link off this copy of Construct into Gravity Controller. Then Shaddoll Fusion is going to be added back to the hand off of Construct. He's going to go ahead and use Invocation, banishing the Wendy and the Invoker, which is really nice here because he can actually, he's not going to opt to go for that. He's going to go for Beast, so we can make Kaliga. The reason that you would do Wendy is obviously to make Raijin, which is a form of disruption since you can Book of Moon something. The Kaliga is going to be really hard for me to out here, if I'm being honest, because I can only activate 1 monster effect per turn with the Kaliga on the field. So, although I do see an out here in my hand, I'm not sure if you guys see it as well, but it is this copy of Majespecter Cyclone. So, unfortunately, I draw a second copy of Toad for turn. If this was Cat or Fox, my hand would have been insane because I could have just Pendulum summoned without using my normal summon. But, I mean, I'd still be put in a really awkward position where my normal summon isn't really super effective, if that makes sense. I guess if this was like Raccoon, this would be so broken because I could just normal Raccoon and then grab the Scale, and then I would still have a card to be Pendulum summoned. I could use the Cyclone to obviously get rid of the Kaliga, Pendulum summon like the Crow or a Toad or whichever in that situation, and then I could Ties to bring out more. Unfortunately, my hand is very bricky, basically, because I drew 3 5 scales, 2 copies of Ties. The only out in my hand is really Cyclone, so I can out this Kaliga, just in a really rough position. So I go ahead and normal summon the Toad and use the effect, and that is my 1 effect for the turn due to Kaliga. So I'm going to grab the Tornado. Then I can use Ties on my Toad. I figure this is the best play because I at least have 1 other form of interruption in the form of Cyclone. So I'm going to go ahead and grab Fox and Crow from the deck. And then I'm going to go ahead and just set a card. I attempt to go into battle phase here, but I forget, like, Ties stops me from the battle phase. It wouldn't have mattered if he took the damage anyways, because the Gravity Controller can't be destroyed by battle, so he would have just literally taken 300 damage, but he reminds me, and we pass the turn. So unfortunately, my hand is a little bricky, so we go ahead and, yeah, see what he can do. So he flips Beast, goes ahead and draws 2 cards, discards Shaddoll Fusion, links off into a copy of Cross Sheep, because this can be link summoned or linked off the turn after it's used or summoned. Cross Sheep's going to be summoned here, and then he has a copy of Alistair, which is going to grab Invocation. That's his normal summon. Then he's going to go ahead and use Shaddoll Fusion, fusing Wendy and Kaios, which is a really interesting tech he's opting to play, which will bring out Construct, and I don't think he uses the Kaios here, but I'm going to go ahead and chain the Cyclone, popping the Cross Sheep, I believe. So this Cross Sheep can't trigger as well, so he had like 4 effects going on, and I just didn't want the Cross Sheep for an extra summon. That would have been crazy. So he goes ahead and lets that go through. Then Ariel is going to be summoned off of Wendy. I don't think he's going to trigger the Kaios, but the Construct is going to send the Invocation to the grave. I think Kaios summons one from hand, if I am not mistaken. No, it actually sends one from grave. Send one from hand to the grave. Okay, so I guess that's like okay. Shaddoll Incarnation is going to banish Construct and itself to flip this aerial. It actually doesn't target, which is really interesting. But it doesn't target what you flip or whatever, but it has the effect. You have to pick one of these effects, obviously. So change one face down monster to face up defense position. Flip it, basically flip it. But if I get rid of the target, then it will just resolve without effect, since there are no cards face down on the field that can be flipped face up. So I have to go ahead and, I believe, hit this with a tornado, getting rid of the fox to just banish the aerial, and then the Shaddoll Incarnation just resolves without effect. He's going to go ahead and actually just change Shaddoll Fusion, which really sucks here, which is a smart play, though. He's going to fuse the Beast and the Aerial. Beast is not going to be able to get him a draw, since he already used the Draw 2 effect, but he's going to get an App Cologne. And for some reason, this Ties gets banished somehow. Oh, he's going to banish everything with Aerial. That's why. That's what happens. Just because he can. There's not really a reason to not to, at least. Invoked and Construct are going to be linked off into a copy of Alistair the Invoker of Madness, and then Construct is going to be using the effect to grab back the Shaddoll Fusion. Then he can use this invocation to banish the Almirage and the Invoker to get him into a copy of Purgatrio. Then Alistair the Invoker of Madness is going to trigger here to get rid of this copy of Lightning Storm, grab him a copy of Invocation from deck to hand. Then he can use this Invocation to add back the Alistair to hand, which is pretty crazy. He can link off the App Cologne and the Invoker into a Unicorn, and he attempts to use the effect and then realizes, oh wait, I can't, because the Crow's Majespecters can't be targeted, is what I mean. So he actually can't use he can use the Unicorn, but since his initial target was illegal, we're not forcing him to activate the Unicorn. Then he's going to go ahead and use the effect of App Cologne. I missed what he added there, so we're going to go ahead and check the log. I think he's going to go ahead and, or maybe, I'm not exactly too sure what just happened there. Hedgehog was sent to the grave, probably off of the App Cologne, because he used the App Cologne to add it and then send it to grave, and then use the Hedgehog to add the Squamata. I'm assuming that's what happened. Invocations can be activated here, banishing the Alistair the Invoker of Madness and the copy of Shaddoll, or sorry, not Shaddoll, or it is Shaddoll Wendy. And then he's going to go ahead and summon Raijin, which doesn't really do anything against my deck. Then he's going to go ahead and move into the battle phase. Purgatrio is going to go ahead and hit me for 1,000 points of damage here, since it pierces. Unicorn hits me for 22, and Raijin hits me for 22. And then he's going to go ahead and go... Oh, wait. He realizes that he actually has the Invoker, so I tell him, yeah, that's fine. So going into game number 2, I'm opting to go first this time. I draw into a copy of Ice Bell, which is really nice, so I'm going to go ahead and use the effect, special summon itself, and a copy of Glass Bell. Then I'm going to search for Snowbell with Glass, and Ice is going to burn for 500. Snowbell is going to special summon itself, and I can synchro into Clearwing Fast Dragon, synchro those into the copy of Clearwing Synchro Dragon. So I have a monster negate, and Clearwing can't be destroyed by card effects. Then I'm going to go ahead and normal summon this copy of Bambuku, search for a copy of Fox. I believe I scale. Maybe I don't scale. I think I decide to not scale my cards here, I think, just so that I'm not playing into a big board. I think that ultimately it would have been a better option for me to. I was just really afraid of Dragon, right? Because if he Dragon pops my Toad or my Cat, then I have no follow-up for the next turn. So I was thinking in this hand, my follow-up is this Fox. So realistically, I should have just committed completely to the board. I should have just used this Toad and Nekomata to scale the Fox, or special summon the Fox, and then search for a copy of Tornado to banish a card. But I have to just leave it with 2 monster negates, being the Tempest and the Clearwing Synchro Dragon. You're going to see why this is a terrible play here, because he's going to draw for turn. He's going to activate Light Stage, which is going to search for Corbane, which is just a free extender. And then he can use Light Stage to just lock my back row. So obviously, if I had, the other Majespecter card, it would have been 100 times better. He's going to go ahead and use Wendy and Squamata as material from the Shaddoll fusion, since I control a monster summoned from the extra deck. And that's going to get him into App Cologne. So App Cologne can actually just go ahead and negate this Crystal Wing, which is really unfortunate. It still can't be destroyed by card effects, which is really nice because the Snowbell is not... it doesn't apply the effect to the monster or give the monster the effect. It just is an effect that is applied to the monster. I don't know how to exactly explain that, but Alistair the Invoker is going to add for Invocation, and then I assume he's going to link it off into an Almirage, then a Secure Guard now. Or no, he's going to go into Cross Sheep, and then he's going to use this copy of App Cologne to add the Hedgehog, and then he can go ahead and discard the Shaddoll Incarnation, probably to flip this Aerial. Yep, that's exactly what's going to happen. Special back the App Cologne, then he can go ahead and use Cross Sheep to bring back Squamata. Then he can go ahead and link off all of those into a copy of Borreload Dragon, so he can just steal my Crystal Wing, and then he can use Invocation to get into a Raijin. Then he uses the Invocation effect to add back the Alistair. Borreload's just going to go ahead and steal my Crystal Wing. The Squamata is going to go ahead and swing over Bambuku. I'm going to take 6, and he's going to attack for 22 and 3,000. That puts me down to just 22, and then he's going to go ahead and activate this El Shaddoll Fusion to go ahead and go for game. So just really unfortunate. I definitely should have just seen around this. Like, obviously, this deck's broken. It can just OTK. I go ahead and show him my hand. I show him I should have just Pendulum Summoned the Fox, but yeah. So I go ahead and lose this match, which is really interesting. Maticus was 4th place after Swiss, and I was 1st after Swiss, so it's actually... interesting that he just won because he got the lowest place out of the seeding for top cut, if that makes sense. But he's going to go ahead and move to finals, so we'll go ahead and see that match in the next video. Or actually, it might not be the next video, but the one after the next one. With all that said, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in that video. See ya.